There's absolutely nothing new in the world. We just apply ourselves to a new reality and we think, no, to an old reality and we think we are the first. Leaders create minimum conditions. We can speak of change, but we don't like change. We do all these things because we don't have the luxury of time. Ability to see comes from someone removing darkness. People who take risks often get high returns. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy it. If you have basic manufacturing, plastics, food processing now that is coming up in Uganda, production of basic medicine, you now have a particular base. So if you get age, education, stability, basic manufacturing, these are not competitive advantages. Maybe you could say technology can be a competitive advantage for me now as a young person. Are we together? So there's something I call it a guitars. God gives each one of us particular gifts. But we have to get those gifts to work. He gives us special talents. Talanta. You know Talanta? The last World Cup, I watched Mbappe dribbling. You know Mbappe, football lovers, right? Dribbling in the World Cup and running ahead of the competitor and stopping instead of scoring and just smiling and then moving and puts in a goal. He's not playing football. It's a talent. It's in him. And if he doesn't get it out, his purpose is not fulfilled. So God gives us gifts, talents, and abilities, special abilities. That's the A in the guitars. G is gifts. T is talents. A is abilities, particular abilities. There are people who are able to run 25 kilometers at a very high speed, even when they are 60 years old. But there are 25-year-olds who can't run 2 kilometers. Special abilities, but those people who still do it at 60, it means that they're eating the right diet. They're sleeping at the right time. They are not intoxicating their bodies. They have emotional health. They are not on social media insulting each other. They also make sure that their spiritual health is strong. There is an old man whose name I won't mention. He turned 80, but I know that he still does things that 30-year-olds don't do. It means that even when we have gifts, talents, and special abilities, we have to work them. And then the final one in the guitars is resources. All of us have particular resources, small, big, but they're there, that God gives us. So if we have special guitars, and if we all are educated, and if we all share similar ages, what would be a competitive advantage? Can it be technology? So I thought maybe. And then I looked at the year 1700, the steam engine is created. Steam engine creates capacity for industries to produce cotton, wool, and start the Industrial Revolution in Europe, in Britain. But then the steam engine, does anyone like history? So you need to really like and study history even if you're a scientist, because there's absolutely nothing new in the world. We just apply ourselves to a new reality and we think, no, to an old reality and we think we are the first to do that. Huh? So steam engine is replaced by a motor combustion engine in the 1800s. A motor is what began to get to the conscience of the West to stop slave trade. So William Wilberforce had the conscience as a person to stand against slave trade. But really, it's the economy that forced the end of slave trade, because you don't need human muscle when you have a motor. The motor creates the necessary production you want. So sometimes when you mix these things and you see the moral side only, you forget the structural side of things. So if we focus sometimes on classroom work only, we don't see the country we are studying in and what is needed to be done. And so the motor and the combustion engine later sort of reduced the capacity of the steam engine. Fast forward in the 70s, we have a personal computer revolution, a PC, that a computer is no longer one huge piece of equipment seated in a lab, in a library, in a university, but that each one of us can process information on a personal computer. But now all that technology gets disrupted every day. Now there's something called generative artificial intelligence. Is this something you know as young people? What does Gen AI do? Because you are the workers of today and tomorrow, you need to know that. So AI basically takes data sets that you have gathered, whether how Odrek speaks, his voice, sound, text, and creates patterns in this data and learns quicker and solves basic problems in business and in life. Some people think it will replace a human being. I don't think it will. It will be an alternative way to compete. So if I have started in 1700 up to date, you can see that technology is not a competitive advantage. He or she who learns what to do with it will eventually be overtaken by another one who creates something new. So if technology is not a competitive advantage, material resources are not a competitive advantage. If material resources of a country, natural resources, were a competitive advantage, Uganda would beat a lot of the countries in the Middle East. If you fly to the Middle East, you are taking off at midday, you will see like bubbles of steam over a city that kind of blind your eyes because it's 38 degrees temperature, and you can see that this society is so stressed that it had to develop. They are too stressed naturally, no natural resources, only the desert and the water. The water is not enough to give you the fish. The oil has ended. You must create a good metropolis like Dubai or Abu Dhabi, where Africans like to go, because you are too stressed to survive. That's the story of Israel, that's the story of Singapore, that's the story of South Korea. You hear these big TVs we use here, the Samsungs. South Korea is half of the year snow, and it is 60% mountainous. Only the valleys grow rice and potatoes, and it cannot serve 50, 60 million people, so people have to be innovative. So if Uganda natural resources were a competitive advantage, we would be much more developed than those resource scarce countries. Leaders create minimum conditions. We can speak of change, but we don't like change. We do all these things because we don't have the luxury of time. Ability to see comes from someone removing darkness. People who take risks often get high returns. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy it.